We are live here at E3 on PlayStation Livecast Day 1. I am joined by Bruce Straley and Neil Druckmann of Naughty Dog. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us here today.
What's up, Sid?
Kicking off the show in style.
Yeah, let's kick this thing.
So, big night last night for you guys. Bruce, we got to see you up on stage.
Almost have a heart attack.
Yeah. Now tell me about that little moment, because that's an interesting moment. I mean, what exactly happened?
Interesting.
Yeah.
If losing 10 years of your life is interesting.
Sheer panic. Horrifying. Oh, okay, so I didn't do any of the run-throughs or dress rehearsal. I start heading out on the stage in complete black. There's a guy following me with a stool. I'm supposed to watch out for Bill with the stool. And I noticed when I get out there that the controller's not where it's supposed to be. I'm like, uh-oh. And then Bill's like, excuse me. And I'm like, I'm just thinking about controller. He's like, excuse me. I'm like, okay, sorry. Let me get out of this guy's way. I dig into the well. I find the controller. Okay, we're good. It has the light on. The blue light's on. I start the game. The game starts. So I'm like, cool. I sit on my stool. We're about to play. Little cutscene, 15 seconds or so at the beginning of this thing. Nate's supposed to move. I'm supposed to hit the analog stick, and he's supposed to respawn. This is gameplay. This is what happens when you're playing a game. Nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
I thought you were doing it for dramatic effect.
And then I start moving the camera, and nothing. And then I'm like, oh my god, now my brain's not working. And I'm like, okay, grab the other controller there's a backup unit there. And I start moving that, thinking like, well, maybe they're crossed or something. That one doesn't move. Nothing's happening whatsoever. Neil tells a story of what's happening backstage.
Well, I actually, because I was backstage with Bruce most of the night, I walked out to the front, and I'm watching the thing. I'm like, walk. Bruce, why aren't you walk? Bruce, walk. And I start spinning. I don't know what to do. I'm just like spinning around. I'm like, could a backup do something? And then all of a sudden it restarted. I was like, okay, they got the backup going.
So apparently what happened is so I hit the PS button. I saw the OS on the secondary unit. Actually, it popped up. So I'm like, okay, it's responding. So I pointed at that, and apparently they have the feed and the monitors, and they could see that I was starting to pick up the backup unit. And they were like, okay, pick up the feed of the backup. You know, Bruce is playing on the backup. And then I started playing on that one, and luckily he moved. The crowd went wild. It's just like, Nate's actually moving. It's a game. This is awesome.
It is a game, and it's a live demo. I mean, these kinds of things can happen, you know?
Yeah. I think the Final Fantasy VII Remake screams were so loud, they shorted out the controller.
Dude.
That may well be. But here we are. We're seeing actually some footage from some of the stuff we saw last night, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, looking fantastic. And I'll tell you something. One of the takeaways for me was the scale of the game, the fidelity of the game, and just the destructibility of the environments. I mean, the density is really, I've never seen anything quite like it.
Yeah, it's one of the things that we set out to do with this demo. This is half of a much longer demo, part of the game, actually. And it's a new take on our set pieces, really rooted in core mechanics. And it kind of starts with this sort of like, almost mundane sort of, market fight. We wanted a lot of destructibility, a lot of interaction with the environment, and we wanted to really feel the power of this turret truck that has been menacing you, and it's really coming in, and we want to set this character up now and really show what it can do to the environment and to you, and really push Nate around. So it starts off kind of like, okay, some tables are blowing up, okay, some pieces are blowing up, and then when we get to the Jeep, now we're like in a whole new scenario. Whole new mechanic, whole new system, like with the Jeep for Uncharted. Now it's completely drivable. And then that's just half, and then we get to the rope.
Yeah.
And then it goes on and on. And it goes on, and it's like, and it escalates. It has this beautiful like arc to it that this is just the beginning. What you're seeing here is like fun, a lot of diversity as far as like the ways you can approach it in gameplay.
And last time we showed gameplay at the PlayStation Experience, Drake was by himself for the most part until you reached Sam. And here we wanted to show Sullivan's back, and you got the kind of the repertoire, the banter between these two guys. And then, like, some of the stuff we've learned from The Last of Us. Here you're seeing this melee fight where your ally can come and help you out, and likewise, there's going to be times where you have to help your ally out.
Here's my favorite moment. Here we go. Boosh! I love that. That's so awesome.
And then Sully does his thing. So, again, so much of Uncharted is this family, that Nate has built for himself. And so much, where the story eventually goes is that, the conflict that starts to arise between these people that have been so close for all these adventures.
And then this kicks off here. We're seeing the beginning of this just really breathtaking, extended sequence that I think kind of went further and longer than anyone was expecting. And actually, we got a great question off Twitter. We asked some folks on Twitter, PlayStation fans, what questions you have for Naughty Dog about Uncharted 4. And Alejandro Lopez asked, was the was the driving part, was that player controlled or is like the computer controlling the Jeep? So
All
what do
player controlled. Yeah, it's a completely drivable, rooted in core mechanics Jeep. Go anywhere you want. The only barriers you're going to hit are the barriers of the world, the buildings, cliffs. If it doesn't like be hit and destroyed by the Jeep, then you're going to hit a wall. Otherwise, like we're trying to allow the Jeep to have as much flexibility as possible. So again, back to the interaction of the environment, we really want to like pop as you're going through the environments. We want to pop these little moments and really make you feel like the tension and having things break and having the environment react to you makes you really feel more present and more like you're there and the Jeep is really having an impact on the adventure.
And here you're seeing the Jeep in a set piece, but there's other parts in the game where you're going to explore and you can slow down, you can get in and out of your Jeep.
That's awesome. A couple other unnamed game developers came up to me and were raving about this sequence particularly. And they were saying the amount of assets, the amount of production that it would take to have all this content flying past the player. They're like, I don't think of Uncharted as an open world game, but I mean, this is just a new look. This is not something I would have expected necessarily from Uncharted.
Yeah, it's because of the Jeep, you're just moving through the world at such a faster clip, you just have to create more assets. So hats off to all the artists at Naughty Dog, and they created a production pipeline which really allowed them to populate this world and do it in the Uncharted way, which is we're not just populating it with one type of grass throughout. We specifically want to move through looks. We want to get through different environments and make you feel like you're transitioning as this adventure and as this like set piece unfolds. It's a lot of work, and they really pulled it off. They're amazing. The Naughty Dog team always
delivers. Always Naughty Dog.
Always amazes me, and I work with them every day.
Yeah. Here's another question we got from Twitter from Mike P. Is Sully getting old, or are just the PS4 graphics that powerful? So that's something I noticed too. The character details really intense in this game.
Aren't we all getting old?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, as the story progresses and we're entering Uncharted 4 and it's several years after Uncharted 3, all our characters are getting older. And we wanted to, one, show that there is a progression to these characters and they're aging and evolving as they're going along. But two, is the graphical style is slightly different. We're slightly more realistic. It's still stylized. It's not reality. But you are going to see more wrinkles and creases. And with our new tech, the way the skin moves over bones, it's really just adding another layer of fidelity that we never had before. Another
question I got from Twitter from Brad K. wants to know what new game mechanics are in Uncharted 4. Now, I think we're seeing a big one right here. We've also seen Drake has a little fun with a grappling hook. What else is in store?
See that right here.
Yeah.
Well, that's the fun thing about these mechanics is like we've taken the rope and we said, well, what can we do with the rope? It's not just about like what we can do in, spatial problem solving and how to get through an environment. It's not about puzzling and how you can maybe move or interact with the environment with this object. But here we have the combination of two core mechanics. You're driving the Jeep, and as you get an opportunity, which there may be opportunities coming on the extended playthrough, then you can continue to use the rope, and it's a fantastic little multiplication there. Like once you have one core mechanic, a new addition to your toolbox, you have another one. And that's what you're trying to do in production. You're just trying to find the most essential and most kind of multiplicative. I don't know how else to say it, like scalable kind of set. So you want a very few amount, but you want them to be exploitive. So you can really get the bang for the buck out of each one of these things that you're adding. And so the rope and the Jeep are huge. A lot of versatility.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sid.
There you go. I was thinking, I was like, what's that word he's looking for there? And then here's a quick one from Alexis from Twitter. What's the most fun you've had making Uncharted 4? Is there a particular element? I think it might be different for each of you, or maybe not.
Most fun.
Shipping it?
Shipping it?
Shipping it?
I don't know. Seeing, so like we work on this demo for months, trying to like first pick which part of the game do we want to show off, and then it's so rough initially, and it's like, how's this thing ever going to come together in time to show it to the public? Because the game's not done, and it's asking a lot for the team to like, okay, let's focus on this moment, let's really polish it as if it's shipping, and seeing it this last few weeks really come together, and hearing music come in, and the dialogue come in, and all the mechanics and everything, and just start playing it, and it's getting more and more fun, and then bringing people on the team that haven't seen the demo, and like seeing them in the theater, and seeing them excited about the game, that to me that's the most satisfying part.
I'm going to be a complete nerd on this one. Like, normally it's about the team, and it is about the team, and it is about those guys and the work they do and being proud. But for me, there's also something about this and the PSX demo, which we really, really, really focused on not making it a dog and pony show. It's core mechanics. We worked on Nate's moveset. We worked on his animations. We worked on like how the actual joystick feels. Like what you're actually seeing here. That Jeep is drivable, and it's not like any vehicle that you've seen it's an adventure vehicle. It's an Uncharted vehicle. It can go over mud. It can go through and slip and slide. It can go over boulders. It can go over all crazy angles. It can take jumps. Right? It's going to do all these. It's very, here we go, versatile. Thank you, Sid. So it's one of those things where when we focus on these demos, we're also focusing on what our game actually is going to end up being. So I come off of something like E3 or PSX with way more assurance of like, I know where we're going. I feel very comfortable about like how we're going to like make this game come together. And what we're seeing here is like, this is our benchmark. These are the types of moments that we get to say as a team, like, this is what we're making. Rad.
So far, so good on that front, I'd say.
Oh, good.
Now, we could talk about this all day, and believe me, I want to, but we do have a schedule. I wanted to just touch base very quickly with you guys. Any key standouts from PlayStation's press conference last night, just personally?
Oh, well, they finally showed our most anticipated game, Last Guardian.
Yeah.
And it was just a snippet, and I heard they have a longer demo here on the show floor.
Yeah,
so
I want to see the longer demo for sure.
Can't wait to see that.
And that's an excellent segue, because up next, we're actually going to take another look at Last Guardian. We're going to get an on-the-floor report about what some of that new content is. So, Bruce and Neil, thank you so much for joining us.
PlayStation